In this episode of Good Games for Bad Gamers, we're going to tackle a 1982 arcade classic that made its way to the NES in 1986. So, stick around.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hello, friends, and welcome to Good Games for Bad Gamers. I'm the Bad Gamer, and I'm tackling the good games from our childhood and beyond. This episode, I'm going to tackle the 1982 arcade classic Donkey Kong. Released in 1986 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, this Nintendo classic pretty much made its way through all the home consoles of the early 80s until finally making a home on the company that created its own console, the NES. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, my earliest memories are very hazy on this being in the arcade. I'm sure I remember playing it, but I don't really remember. What I do remember is playing it on the Colecovision. I played it all the time. It was one of the first games that I got for the system, and at the time I got the ColecoVision, the thing was already on clearance. Unfortunately, it was DOA. But what was great was I could get all these classic games very, very cheap. I'm having controller issues that if you've seen the episodes before, you know I have. I need to buy myself a new Joy-Con because mine is a little messed up. What the? I don't understand that. I know I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. But anyway, I mean, a lot of people, me included for a time, thought that they just swept Donkey Kong... Bad choice. Swept Donkey Kong Jr. under the rug. But actually, what the mythos that I've heard, I don't know if it's confirmed by Nintendo or not, is that Donkey Kong Jr. is the Donkey Kong that we know from the Donkey Kong Country series, that he's grown up. And he's now Donkey Kong. And who was the original Donkey Kong, this one, the one that also kidnapped Petunia in the original Donkey Kong, is Cranky Kong from those games. That he's old and retired. Ooh, that was close. And Donkey Kong Jr. has taken up the mantle. That was another luck maneuver. That was a bad control maneuver. But anyway, if that is the true mythos, I am super down with that. Okay, game over already. Let's try again. Whew, I don't remember it being this hard when I used to play it on the ColecoVision. But anyways, yeah, I would be really down for that mythos, because that would be a full story, and that's awesome. And, you know, I always thought that Diddy Kong was just their attempt at erasing history, but he's just another little monkey dude that hangs out with Donkey Kong Jr., now grown up to be Donkey Kong. Now, like I said, this was a game that I played constantly on the ColecoVision. This and Popeye, I think, were the two games that I played the most of, and Tarzan. Which, God, I would love to find a version of that again. But, oh, come on. These eggs. But anyway, I'm in awe over actually playing this again. And sadly, the graphics are on par for 1982. They didn't really clean them up that much for the Nintendo release of this game. I mean, I hate saying it, but I actually think it looked better on the Colecovision. But that's just my memory. Yeah, sucker, eat that apple. Dumb. That was my fault. Can't blame the controller for that one. But when it comes to ports, I mean, I think they did minimal work on this. I think Donkey Kong itself actually got a little bit more love when they ported it over than this did. Man. So maybe that adds to the mythos of them just getting rid of Donkey Kong, because they haven't really, or Donkey Kong Jr., because they never really even showed it love back in 1986 when it came out. I have an original cartridge from NES, a later release, that's the Donkey Kong Collection. It comes with Donkey Kong Jr., and Donkey Kong 2, or is it Donkey Kong Jr. 2? But, unfortunately, it's like one of those weird packs that was known to only play on certain models of what the freak? On certain models of the Nintendo. So, the Nintendo I have, unfortunately, isn't the correct model. So, to be honest, I haven't played this in probably from when I played it on the Colecovision. But I could not bring myself to get rid of the pack that I have, because it's still geek. Still means something to me to have it. So, I was very thankful that the Nintendo Online service brought it out. And by the way, man, this month's releases, a lot of people are mad at. I mean, Nintendo Online service, you only pay $20 a month, or $20 a year. Scratch that, $20 a year for all these titles so far. And for somebody that's not a hardcore vintage retro game collector or player, I think that that's a fine price to pay for the library that you end up getting. Stupid. But there's some cats out on YouTube and stuff that despise it, think it's such a rip-off. It's $20 a year. How much of a rip-off is that? I mean, how many coffees at Starbucks would equal $20? 2, 3, 4? I mean, and with this, oh, god darn it, you get a whole library of games, and every month they add to it. And, oh, this month, they're just stealing my money. No, they're not. I mean, unless you are sitting on a large collection as it is, and you can play these games at your leisure whenever you want, sure, maybe. But it's still $20 a year. I mean, come on. You can't be that bad off. As bad off as I am in this game, apparently. Come on. I at least want to see the third map. Anyway, it just kind of really ticks me off that these jaded people, these jaded retro reviewers, diss it so much. But for people like me that don't have the time, money, or energy to hunt these games down, we have an option to play them. We have an option to share them with our kids which, believe me, a lot of these people don't have kids, and nothing against them, but I mean, preserving these games and getting kids to like them when, I mean, a game like this came out, my wife wasn't even born yet, let alone my kids. And the simplicity of it, they gravitate towards. They like it. Granted, it's not as flashy and stuff as some of the games they play, or the Minecrafts and stuff, but these are just little games that they can try their hand-eye coordination with, and the way that the library is set up, they can just bounce around, no muss, no fuss, and it makes me happy to see them enjoy games that I enjoyed growing up playing. Anyway, that's just my little soapbox derby right there. So let me get off my soapbox and continue to suck at Donkey Kong Jr. Which I didn't think I would. I thought I would be ripping it up like I did as a kid. But I'm going to blame a lot of it on this controller. Yeah, that's the ticket. But, I mean, it doesn't have as memorable as a soundtrack. It does have Mario, as he's releasing these wicked birds and traps and stuff. These, living bear traps coming after us. Again? Come on. I just want to see the third map. That's it. That's it. But it is a classic game that doesn't get the same love as the original Donkey Kong gets, and that's understandable, but this was revolutionary gameplay for the time period. I mean, the whole climbing aspect of it, the springboard, that was something new at the time. I assume, I mean, again, I didn't have a huge collection back then, just like I don't have a huge collection today. Excuse me. Getting over a little bit of a late spring cold here. But I don't have a lot of memories of... God darn this controller. A lot of memories of it being in the arcade itself. But Colecovision, that's where all my memories are of this game. And like I said, I used to be awesome on the Colecovision. And I really don't remember this map. I remember the one maybe that's right after it, that where you have to shimmy up the keys. Hopefully we'll be able to get to it. Grab on, you simian punk. No wonder Nintendo wrote you off. What the hey? Now it's just messing with me. You are not making me happy, Mr. Donkey Kong Jr. Thank goodness. Does it say how many Whoa, okay, I remember this one. Oh my. I was paying more attention to the bottom one. What the heck? Now we gotta start all over. Once more, and then I'll stop. Oh my goodness gracious. I thought it killed me for a second. Because they seem a little hard or quick and loose with the jump rules here to how far you can fall and stuff without it killing you. It's kind of hard to gauge sometimes. Sometimes you think you're safe, sometimes you don't. Just missed that egg. Ooh. Let go too soon. My fault. One life left. Oh my goodness gracious. Man, I sound like I'm 100 years old talking like that. If a shadow is going across, that is the cat. One of the cats. Doing what cats do, being curious. Because to be honest, it's been a little bit... Why did he let go? Since I have filmed one of these, so if I seem a little off my game, that's probably why. And I don't mean off the actual video game, because I always stink. That's nothing new. Yeah. Crowds look close. You guys just got a bird haircut. And Mario's such a mean dude, man. This is just a baby and he's trying to kill us. Does anyone remember the Donkey Kong cartoon? There used to be the Saturday Super Arcade. Had some awesome cartoons, and I remember loving the Donkey Kong Jr. cartoon. That and the Frogger one and the Cubert one. Got I guess they're like the fire cats from Donkey Kong, or whatever they're called. I always thought they looked like little cats with their tails. Again. Anyway, that's it. I stink. I might try this game again one day and invite you to watch my downfall. But game over as usual. Didn't get very far. Here's the game's demo of it. Oh, look how good he is. But anyway, until next time, this has been Good games for bad gamers. If you like what you saw, give a thumbs up. If you got something to say, please leave a comment. I love reading them and I love getting back to you all. And if you're new, subscribe, please. And hit the little bell to be notified whenever there's a new episode. So until next time, keep being rad, stay dorky, and peace out.